Hello, this is Ruth Ann and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my Christmas haul. These are 4 bottles of fragrance that I received from my husband for Christmas 2022, and he really outdid himself. So I'm going to get started. The first one is Midnight Amber by Oscar de la Renta. And here is the box. I don't know if anyone's interested in seeing boxes, but this is it. As we all probably are aware, Oscar de la Renta is a very high quality designer house that is generally very, very affordable. This was a release in 2016. It's considered a vanilla amber fragrance. This I would describe in a nutshell as woods and dark florals. I would also describe it as being very luxurious. It smells much more expensive than it is. It's definitely an evening, sexy, exotic, kind of oriental fragrance without being overpowering. I think you could spray this and never really feel like you overdid it. However, it is strong enough that it's possible definitely to overdo it. It's an oudy fragrance, but it's not at all funky. If you were going to say oud is in a Western or French style, this is definitely how I would describe this fragrance. It's an excellent blend of nutmeg and amber. Top notes include strawberry, nutmeg, and Madagascar vanilla. Mid notes, turquoise rose, jasmine, tuberose. In the base is oud, amber, and patchouli. It's moderate for lasting, a good 6 hours, a nice evening oriental. If you like those dark, brooding, kind of sexy evening scents, this is a very affordable option. I really recommend. I think the price on it has gone up a bit because it has made a bit of a splash in the perfume world, but it's still fairly affordable. It was a gift. I don't know exactly how much my husband paid for it, but highly recommend. This is just absolutely gorgeous if you like dark amber florals. Next up, I have a rather classic fragrance. This one is called Il Bacio. Here is the bottle, and here is the box. The house is Borghese. I think that's how it's pronounced. This is an eau de parfum concentration, and it goes back to 1993. This is officially classified as a fruity floral. I would, in a nutshell, describe this as a lush yellow floral. When I first spray it, it's really a rush of a peachy, spicy, fruity fragrance. The fruit is kind of like a basket of fruit, but primarily you've got really lush, ripe peach. It's very powerful. It's kind of sexy. It could be evening or daytime, but my overall impression is that it's more of a power suit kind of a fragrance, like what you would have a lawyer woman wearing a sharp suit who's like a trial lawyer. The note breakdown is in the top is honeysuckle, freesia, jasmine, lily of the valley, and rose. In the mid we have peach, melon, plum, and passion fruit. Definitely the strongest note here is peach, but it's really high quality. There's nothing cheap about this fragrance at all. In the base, musk, vanilla, amber, cedarwood, and sandalwood. I would say of all of these notes, the primary ones are sandalwood and peach. Those are the only 2 that I really pick out. It's just a masterpiece of blending. This is a very affordable fragrance. It lasts a good 8 hours. Also, just when I was doing the research on it, I didn't know this, but this fragrance was featured in a movie called Clock Watchers in the 90s. That's not a movie I've seen. I'm not aware of it, but I guess it does figure into the plot somehow. So just a bit of trivia there. Like I said, moderate lasting. It's a perfumey perfume, but it's not one of those super aldehydic, blow your head off kind. It's very wearable, very beautiful, very classy. Glad I own it. And again, this, I believe, when I looked at the price, was under $30. So a really good bargain. I'm very happy with that one. And My next one was one I was a little intimidated by, and this is Kenzo Jungle, L'Elephant. Now, when I looked at the box here, I've got it upside down. It just says Kenzo Jungle. It doesn't say L'Elephant. And it's an eau de parfum. When I looked on Fragrantica, of course, it's called Kenzo Jungle L'Elephant. Beautiful, classy bottle. I mean, nice, heavy metal cap. And I had watched a lot of reviews on this, and a lot of people describe it almost so that it's scary. It gets to be a little intimidating, but that's not what this is at all. It's actually really, really beautiful. 1996 Amber Spicy Fragrance by Dominique Ropion is the nose behind this, and if you know anything about perfumers, he's one of the best master perfumers who's ever been in the business. Top notes include clove, cumin, and mandarin orange. In the mid, we have cardamom, caraway, licorice, mango, ylang ylang, heliotrope, and in the base, vanilla, amber, and patchouli. This is a spicy fragrance, but it's not as spicy as opium. So YSL's opium, especially back in the 90s, was much more powerful than this. However, this is, I would say, a much more tamed down, more of an Indian kind of oriental spicy rather than oriental spicy, if that makes any sense. This is a warm, spicy, cozy, kind of sexy fragrance. It reminds me somewhere between an Indian spiced chai and a Christmas candle. Like when you get mulled spices, kind of a Christmas candle, but in the best way. I don't mean in a cheap way. Like, I don't like walking around smelling like a candle, unless the candle smells really good. But this is just really well done. This is a very high quality. I would think that this would be in some kind of a niche perfume bottle and would sell for hundreds of dollars. And this is much more affordable than that. It's zesty, bright, happy, beautiful. And it's very long lasting. If you're tired of all these modern fragrances that only last a couple of hours, I'm not kidding. I sprayed this the day I received it in the box just to give it a test. And 2 weeks later, I can still smell it. It's not super strong 2 weeks later, but it's still there. And that's very impressive. So this is nothing to be afraid of. Absolutely gorgeous. Of course, unless you don't like strong perfume. But most of us frag heads love strong perfumes, so don't be afraid or intimidated by this fragrance. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I think one of the best kept hidden gems. It's not exactly hidden, kind of in plain sight hidden, let's say. Ignored, underappreciated, but absolutely gorgeous, and it's perfect for winter, especially around Christmas time. So I'm thrilled with this one. And lastly, I have this gorgeous beauty. Okay, so this is Guerlain L'Heure Bleu. And here is the box. So my husband is native Canadian. He's from Quebec, and he's a native French speaker. He's bilingual. And so this was the first time since COVID, so the first time in 3 years that we've been able to travel back to Montreal. And we went to a store in the downtown called L'Abeille, and they have an enormous perfume department there. I highly recommend, if you're ever in Montreal, if you like perfumes, you have got to go to L'Abeille in downtown Montreal. And we were staying in downtown, so we visited there a couple times. And on our very first visit, I said, I want to check this one perfume. I've heard so much about L'Heure Bleu. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing that very well at all. When I first heard that this was Queen Elizabeth's signature scent and that she'd been wearing it her entire life, I thought, well, you can't get any more classy than Queen Elizabeth, right? And she wasn't always an elderly woman. And so I wanted to try this. And I went up to the counter, and of course they've got this enormous display for the Aqua Allegoria line, which is what they're really pushing nowadays. It's much more modern fragrances. And then there's this little neglected corner where they have Jicky, Vol de Nuit, their more classic scents. And I went right to L'air Bleu, and I didn't know that it came in both an EDT and an EDP, so I learned that first. And then the sales lady is kind of surprised that this is the one I'm interested in, and she sprays it on a tester, and my husband puts it up to his nose, and he just says, "Oh, that is so beautiful." And he instantly went to the counter and bought it. And he handed it to me, and he said, "Just smell like this all the time." This is absolutely gorgeous, and it far exceeded my expectations. In fact, I can comfortably say that I like it better than Chanel No. 5, and you guys know how much I love Chanel No. 5. It is not only pure class, but it's also a warm white floral. In fact, its primary note that I get out of this is violet. And it's the type of violet that is in Insolence, which was a big surprise. Of course, Insolence comes also from Guerlain, but I didn't expect this classic 1912 perfume to smell so much like Insolence. So just to give you a quick note breakdown, here in the top we have anise, neroli, coriander, bergamot, and lemon. And in the mid we have heliotrope, carnation, violet, which is the primary note I get out of this, jasmine, orchid, tuberose, and in the base is a beautiful powdery iris, vanilla, carnation, sandalwood, tonka, musk, and vetiver. I expected this to be more aldehydic white floral. It's really more of a sexy sandalwood violet tonka fragrance that I was very pleasantly surprised by. This is a classic, timeless, but also warm, cozy fragrance. Guerlain is known for being moody, kind of standoffish kind of fragrances, and that's not at all what this is. This is just a beautiful, classy, warm blend of vanilla, sandalwood, and then the coriander comes in there and makes it only mildly spicy, but this is not overall a spicy fragrance. Not at all. The spices are really blended to make it warm. It's a warm, inviting, beautiful, classy fragrance. The iris is slightly soapy. If you hate soapy fragrances, this is definitely not one you're going to like. But soap is in the background. I would say that warm violet, sandalwood, vanilla is are the primary notes here. This lasts 6 to 8 hours. It's got a soft, somewhere between soft and moderate sillage. It's more intimate, but it's a long lasting, and it's just a beautiful wear. And like I said, my husband is not a big frag head by any means, but he loves perfume, and he loves Chanel is always his favorite. And like I said, he just handed this to me and says, "Smell like this all